I'll be perfectly honest. I never watched Rings of Power because it didn't look good.
It's not.
Did you guys see it?
I watched the entire thing because I felt like it was my duty.
I didn't. I looked at it and I thought, man, this is not the Lord of the Rings that I know. This seems way too much of a modern twist on it. And I don't know that it does the books justice. And so I just didn't watch it. And I kind of had it on my radar for if everyone was saying it was good, I would go back and watch it. But that's not what I heard about it.
No.
Seems to follow the trajectory of everything else fantasy these days.
Even if I had never seen the Lord of the Rings movies, and even if I didn't know one lick of Lord of the Rings lore, and this was just a generic fantasy show, it would still be bad. It would still be riddled with plot holes, shortcomings, and stupid things. I'm generally not that picky of a watcher, okay? I mean, I'm not like super hyper focused on all the mistakes in shit like, like Reaper or Mauler or EFAP or any of those guys. I grew up on like Roger Corman films and stuff where you just kind of like, it's okay, yes, it's dumb, but so what?
What put me off the most from the promotional materials I saw was the insistence on, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, maybe it wasn't actually like this, but the insistence on Galadriel as a girl boss warrior.
Oh.
Because I do like good female characters. I do like strong female characters. I like being able to relate to good female characters, but I'm not sure that making female characters into male archetypes is necessarily empowering.
She was, I mean, even from a character perspective, she was insufferable. She was smug. She was always talking down to everybody, even people who were trying to be nice to her. She was a dick to. And ultimately, she's kind of responsible for Sauron being the shithead that he is. Although they also did stupid shit like, Mordor was created by a Rube Goldberg machine. And the sad thing is, like because of crap like that, it has hurt other films that have come out like Furiosa, which I've heard is not a girl boss movie. Everyone has said it's actually pretty good and that, she's not an insufferable girl boss and that it's worth watching and all that. Although Hemsworth's prosthetic nose kind of steals the show because it's so bad.
There's been a strong forcing of female characters into the traditionally masculine role. So it's basically changing up sort of the natural like kind of character beats that I think would be fair to say most women tend to gravitate towards. And there's nothing wrong with having characters like this, but the problem is it's such an artificial forcing of this that it takes away from the believability.
Harmony is a strong female character, but she does not come off as overbearing. She does not, like make the rest of us look like idiots. She's just very knowledgeable and strong.
But I do think there is a tendency to write strong female characters as men, basically filling masculine roles. And there's there aren't a lot anymore that do fulfill traditionally feminine roles, and it kind of makes you wonder what the writers think about traditionally feminine roles.
That's part of one of the reasons why Sigourney Weaver, why Alien 3 took so long to get off the ground, is because they kept making these scripts, and that a lot of people wrote Sigourney Weaver, like Ripley as like a drill sergeant, and Sigourney Weaver was like, no, Ripley is not like this.
She was smart enough to know what her character was all about.
Yeah. And it was really good in Aliens. I think Aliens was my favorite of the series, the second one.
Everybody loves that one.
Also, thank you, CV.
I think
my friends in chat calling me sweet. Sorry.
Yeah, I think those first two films got her characterization right. She's a blue collar single mum, right? And in the first one, I think the defining moment of Ripley in that film is going to save the cat. And then in the second one, it is getting close to Newt, who's an obvious sort of surrogate. It's a little bit on the nose, but it works. And that kind of dysfunctional little family they put together with Hicks.
And I think Lord of the Rings even has some very good examples in it. Like Eowyn, I think, was a very good, strong female character who was actually a warrior. She actually fulfilled a masculine role, but she was not insufferable. And she had her own dilemmas and her own goals. And I thought it was done very, very well in a way that it didn't look like Galadriel was done well in the new series. But I'm just saying you can look in Lord of the Rings itself and find examples, even though Lord of the Rings is very, very male dominated. Like there aren't many women in Lord of the Rings. There are some, but there aren't many.
Yeah.
Well, Arwen was a good character.
Yeah. Eowyn was my favorite.
That idea right there is sort of a problem in and of itself, where it's just assumption that there must be. There's nothing wrong with having a story that's more predominantly male, masculine, or feminine. That's becomes such a aggravating thing, is that you there's part of this larger push of an argument of, well, we need to have this, equal balancing of all these different groups, when that's just unrealistic. Ultimately, it gets in the way of sometimes it gets in the way of the storytelling. There are times and places where it naturally works, like you could easily do it as like a sort of a movie set in modern New York City. But if we're talking a fantasy series that's supposed to be a mythology for 13th century England, get real.
No, I agree with you. I think there's nothing wrong with having movies that are about men, made by men, for men, with very few women. I think there's absolutely nothing in the world wrong with that. And there are examples of the reverse being true too. Like one of my favorite comedy movies ever is Mean Girls, and that's like there are very female characters in Mean Girls, and it's full of really good lines and really very, very good female actors. But like it didn't need to feature men very much,
Women like that movie a lot.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious. And people can call me wrong for that, and that's fine. I love that movie. But I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.